Oh boy, have I got news for you. I can see into the future. Well, it's actually not me, it's this book. This book that I'm holding here can actually predict the energy of the years coming up. And the author, Dan George Uza, is actually somebody that found the Gromovnic in his grandfather's library. After his grandfather died, he just went through all of his paperwork, through his old books, and he stumbled upon a collection of notes. It was this book. So he decided to publish it, and in 2021, it hit the Romanian publishing houses. And so it is that it landed in my arms. Hi crew, welcome to my channel. I'm Lexi, I'm a certified astrologer, and I'm really happy to have you here with me for a deep dive into ancient astrology practices. Yes, today we are going to be talking about a collection of folk astrological notes that is entitled The Great Gromovnic. The book is replete with a lot of facts and knowledge and diagrams, but the most important thing is that it contains a forecast of planetary predictions that goes all the way up to the year 2080. So Gromovnic is not a Romanian word. It is imported from Slavonic, and it relates to, from what I could understand from my research, the energy of a thunder. So Gromov was considered to be the Slavic word for thunder. And basically in the past, ancient seers and occult teachers would use thunder to interpret the growth and development of crops, so as any other weather phenomena that may have affected the agricultural bounds. Past astrology and magic was strongly linked to agriculture, since in an age prior to the invention of supermarkets, people relied on weather and needed to know weather patterns in order to be able to protect their food, their primary source of nourishment and survival. As you can tell by the subtitle, this is a book of astrological predictions that covers the time span 1941 until 2080. It uses a type of method of prediction that is based on calculations, and it is referred to as Krugul Soarelui and Krugul Lunii, which could be translated in the best way as the bosom of the sun and the bosom of the moon. Now, the method is too complicated to get into it, and actually we don't really need to get into the technical details. I have this chart over here, and this chart shows the planetary ruler of each of the upcoming years. So we can see very clearly that I marked the year 2023, the year in which we currently find ourselves and when I'm recording this, and you can see that the planetary ruler is the planet Mars. If the year 2023 is under the rulership of the planet Mars, this will be a really belligerent, conflict-fueled year. It will be packed with strife, pettiness, and aggression. These are the lower vibrations of the planet Mars. At the same time, if we are to tap into the higher vibrations of the planet Mars, this can be a year in which we can get a lot of things done. We can make fast decisions, we can push our lives forward on the trajectory that we really feel is aligned with our authentic sense of self, not with what other people want us to do. It's fascinating because we began 2023 with the planet Jupiter in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, and then since July, we have been having the North Node in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars. In terms of Western astrology, these two planetary transits of Jupiter and the North Node in the sign of Aries is fitting so beautifully with the predictions of the grandfather of Dan George Uza, who compiled the Gromovnic. The really awesome thing about this book is that we don't only get to travel further ahead in the future by looking at the planetary rulers of the years that are up to come, but we can also go backwards in time and revise. For example, what was the energy in the year 2011? We can see that 2011 was a year that was under the energy of the planet Venus. But let's come closer in time. What about the 2020 year, the year of the Great Pandemic? This was under the rulership of the moon. The moon is all about staying in home, it's about being overly protective, and it's about thinking a lot about the past. The moon is not a forward-moving kind of energy in our lives. So it's fascinating how The book describes the year 2020 being under the rulership of the moon, a very moody, a very emotional, a very cloistered kind of energy. And guess what we did mostly in 2020? We stayed at home, we thought about the past, and we were overwhelmed with a variety of emotions. The moon also rules over our diets, and you know how a lot of people stayed at home and they put on weight because they ate due to the fact that they were trying to suppress the general anxiety, or they were trying to actually stoke up some energy resources in order not to get sick. So again, we see how beautifully this energy fits with the planetary transits in Western astrology, with the whole mood of the events that happened in that year, and with what the Gromovnic is actually predicting. Here comes the exciting part of the video. In the following, I'm going to break down the planetary rulers of the years to come, all the way up until 2080. So I'm going to tell you the planet that rules each specific year and give you a very brief forecast of what can you expect in the coming years. At the same time, so that the clip doesn't become too long or repetitive, you need to keep in mind that I'm looking at 7 specific energies. We're looking at the energy of the sun, which is a star, and also the 6 other known planets. This is mostly because Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were not discovered at the time at which the Gromovnic was written, so they haven't been used as the planetary rulers of any of the years that are coming up. But in order to not make the video too long or repetitive, I'm not going to dive into the fact that the year 2023 is ruled by Mars, and so is the year 2056, and I'm going to break down for each part. I'm just going to say, what does it mean to have a year ruled by a specific planet? And then I'm going to show you the specific years in which this energy is going to be played out. This way, you can actually come back to this video, maybe even timestamp it, and remind yourself, what is the current mood? Why is the collective acting in this way? Well, let's go and check to see what the Gromovnic was saying. Okay, so let's begin with the planet Mars, since I already mentioned a little bit about it. This is the current planetary ruler of the year 2023, and as you can tell, this has been a year in which we have been having an ongoing conflict in the world between Ukraine and Russia. There seems to be no sign of resolution. On the contrary, the situation seems to be pretty nasty and sticky and prolonged. At the same time, we've seen the conflict between Israel and Gaza erupting. I've also been noticing on a small, everyday, local level, a lot of fights and arguments on the streets, people being much more rowdier and more aggressive than in other years. There is a general feeling of unease and a lot of anger due to the rising costs of inflation and increased taxation, and people feeling generally powerless and incredibly tired. There's also the problem with boundaries being broken, and when you cross over a person's personal boundaries, their space, their time, their body, there is a lot of anger that could erupt to the surface of the collective, and the planet Mars rules over such energies. So we normally enter into the field of Mars when we need to stand up for ourselves, when we need to defend what is ours, when we need to tap into that primal, impulsive, instinctive energy. And this is what this year has been for the majority of us. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we are also under the current energy of certain transits, the North Node in Aries, which shows where the collective is obsessively going towards, and it is going towards this Martian energy, this energy of being independent, being a little bit selfish, doing your own thing, going solo, not really caring so much about other individuals. And we see how this is working in tandem with the fact that the planet Saturn is in Pisces, and when Saturn touches the very giving and altruistic, sensitive sign of Pisces, it creates a restriction of empathy. It limits our capacity to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of other people. It also blocks our kindness and our capacity to be giving, loving, and to have faith and trust in the divine. So we see these two energies coming together this year, and as the Gromovnic is actually describing, it is a year that is ruled by very Martian forces. Obviously, the transits of the coming years are not going to be very similar to the one in 2023, but I need you to know that a similar energy to the one that we have been currently under in 2023 will be applicable to the following years, and you can see them over here. I'm going to list them all. The year 2030, the year 2037, the year 2044, the year 2051, the year 2058, the year 2065, the year 2072, and finally the year 2079. Now, the following year, 2024, will be marked by the energy of the sun. So this promises to be a pretty warm kind of year. From the point of view of weather phenomena, the sun is going to keep us in check. There may be a couple of coronal mass ejections from the sun, which are going to really change the weather here on Earth. We are already seeing in the media that there is this environmental panic due to the fact that a lot of people have been forced to become environmental refugees, as there have been so many natural disasters in the previous years. 2024 is also going to be the year when the planet Pluto is going to make its final shift from Capricorn and right back into Aquarius. The only time when Pluto is going to slide back into Capricorn in our lifetimes is going to be in the month of October 2024. But aside from that, we are going to fully enter the age of Aquarius with the movement of Pluto at the beginning of the year in January. Not only that, but next year, the planet Jupiter, the Great Benefic, is going to move from the sign of Taurus and it will move into the sign of Gemini. And Pluto in Aquarius, in combination with Jupiter and Gemini, is going to create phenomenal communication strategies, advances in science, and even the possibility of developing all sorts of inventions related to flight and related to the discovery of space. So 2024 is going to be an illuminating year for the majority of us. It's going to be a year of great changes that will be benefic for mankind. In spite of the fact that this year, in 2023, we were arguing, there was a lot of strife and conflict, I do feel that in 2024, since the sun is the planetary ruler of that year, there will be cordial agreements established between states. There will be some sort of really progressive paradigm shifting discoveries that happen next year. There will also be a lot of weather phenomena related to the sun's activity. We will not be able to neglect the fact that whatever happens with the sun has a ripple consequence effect on Earth's electromagnetic field, on our crops, on our weather. Basically, the sun is the life-giving, light-giving planet. So whatever happens with it tends to directly affect our life here on Earth. On a more spiritual and symbolic level, a lot of us are going to find a renewed sense of purpose. We are going to be more hopeful. We are going to feel more empowered. There will be a general feeling of power back to the people, power back to the masses, and there will be a counterattack on those people that have been keeping the light inside all of us, our sun, our identity, under domination and fear. So I have my hopes up that 2024 is going to be a light-bringing year. As a point of reference, you may want to know that all the way up until 2080, the sun is going to be the planetary ruler of the following years: the year 2031, the year 2038, the year 2045, the year 2052, the year 2059, the year 2063, the year 2066, the year 2073, and finally the year 2080, with which the Gromov ends its predictions. The year 2025 is going to be marked by the planetary energy, the celestial body Venus. So this is going to be a year that will be incredibly good for artists. It will be a financially abundant year. We will be able to establish potentially new means of earning our incomes, different streams of incomes. There will be a reform regarding money. We already see that in 2023, Argentina is being put through this shock therapy effort of trying to rejuvenate its natural resources and its financial establishment. We may go from a national currency to a much more international, globally connected kind of currency. There will be potentially a reform in the apps that we are currently using to give and receive money. 2025 is going to also be the year in which the planet Saturn, currently in the sign of Pisces, and the planet Neptune, also in the sign of Pisces, are going to switch signs, and they will begin a completely new era from an astrological point of view, because both of these planets are going to switch into the pioneering energy of Aries. So indeed, there may be some sort of financial revolution that we will will be going through, we are going to step more into this energy of treating yourselves, of being generous. With Jupiter and Leo, we are going to want more luxury, create more systems that give back to ourselves and to the people around us a feeling of pleasure, comfort, and satisfaction. 2025 is going to be an excellent year for real estate as well. So if you're looking to buy a house or sell the current house you are currently in because you're not happy, wait until 2025. Don't do it before that. 2025 is going to also be a fantastic time to change your look, to change the color of your hair, to maybe get some cosmetic surgery if you're into that, or just to find more natural ways of taking care of your body. Venus is all about natural food, homegrown, organic, clean eating. It's about a timeless sense of elegance and style. Venus is also about love and relationships. So if you have been struggling in your personal connections, if you have been single but ready to mingle for years, 2025 is going to be the year of a lot of people coming together. If in 2023 it was the year of celebrity breakups because it was under the rulership of feisty Mars that tends to separate people through arguments and jealousy and cheating, well, in 2025 we may see some of these couples getting back together, or new couples will be forming, and we will hear about a lot of celebrity weddings, celebrity engagements, and even celebrity babies. So in 2025 there will be a general relaxed attitude towards whatever we'll encounter. Of course, we will continue to have problems. Saturn in Aries is going to create a lot of issues, especially in terms of how we deal with daily administration, the structures and institutions we have been building. It's going to be a year in which we will have to start from the bottom in a way. And some people have also forecasted that 2025 is going to be the year of a solar maximum, and it is assumed that if there is a solar storm during a year of a solar maximum, it will completely throw down the net of technology that we have here on Earth, and it will affect the quality of our internet connections. I wouldn't be so dramatic. I wouldn't think that this may happen because we've been having solar flares throughout the last couple of years and there was no system shutdown. The planet Pluto entered into Aquarius at the beginning of 2023 and there was no mass hacking event. There was no internet cutoff, but this may happen nonetheless. I mean, there may be an issue that we all have to deal with on a collective level. In general, since this year will be under the rulership of beautiful, harmonious, pacifying Venus, it will be a more receptive year, a more artistic, poetic, romantic year, a year in which we will choose to make love rather than go to war. Now, let me give you the years of reference. So this energy of Venus is going to come back and haunt us in the following years: the year 2032, the year 2039, the year 2046, the year 2053, the year 2060, the year 2067, and the year 2074. Now, the year 2026 is going to fall under the rulership of the planet Mercury. Mercury is the equivalent of the god Hermes, Trismegistus, or the god Thoth in Egyptian mythology. So this is going to be a very wise year, a year in which we will have a lot of communications. We may travel, we may take a lot of local trips in our neighborhood, in the region where we come from or where we are currently living. It's going to be a great year for transport in general, for publishing books, for exchanging informations, and for innovative creations, especially those that are related to commerce, trading, and technology. This is going to be a good year to write a book, begin a degree, finish school, complete tasks and chores that are related to the mind. If you have to finish a specific research project, if you have to write a dissertation, if you have to do laboratory work, if you have to measure and calculate, this is going to be the best year to do such things. Usually Mercury favors commerce, so if you're looking to start your own business, I would recommend to wait until the year 2026, or if you already have your business and it has been stumbling for a couple of years, don't worry, because in 2026 you will be on an upswing. There will be more orders, there will be more clients, there will be more things to do, maybe even going through a period of further training in order to improve your skills and bring that renewed knowledge into your work at hand so that you become even better at the craft and the skills and the services you are offering other people. It's going to be a fast-moving year. It's going to be a year of salacious gossip. We're going to figure out so many things. Usually in years that are ruled by Mercury, we are finding through certain important political interviews some hidden secrets. People are going to be communicating a storm. It will be a year of increased internet traffic. There will be a lot of email exchanges, texts, and new applications that could appear, and even new sources of commerce and trading. I believe that a lot of these issues will be connected with the colonization of Mars and with figuring out ways in which we could equip machines that are doing deep exploration either underwater or in space with more performative cameras, with recording devices, and with all sorts of technological equipment that can help us understand better what lies at the bottom of our oceans, but also what lies in the discovery of space. Mercury is the energy that is about breath, and it is about a lot of different information that could be sometimes contradictory being put together. So it may be a year in which you will feel a little bit overwhelmed by the quantity of information that is out there. It may be a year in which fake news could be seeing a really big comeback. And it may be a year in which politicians are going to say one thing but do something completely different. This is nothing new, but in 2026 there may be like a communication pandemic related to this issue, in the sense that people are just going to be blatantly lying with a smile on their face regarding their intentions, regarding their political agendas, and regarding the things that they're hiding from the majority of the population. However, information will leak. People are going to find interesting ways in which they are going to get to the truth, to the bottom of the situation. It's going to be a year in which there will be a lot more social gatherings, maybe public gatherings, maybe protests. We will be having a comeback of so-called third places in societies, so places which are not necessarily places where you work or places where you live, but places where you come together with strangers to discuss political, economic, artistic issues. It will be a year in which we will talk a lot in order to find solutions. We will laugh a lot. We will be quite sarcastic. And there will also be a year that will open our minds through some really interesting discussions. As a point of reference, the following years fall under the energy of Mercury. The year 2033, the year 2040, the year 2047, the year 2054, the year 2061, the year 2068, and the year 2075. Now, the year 2027 is going to fall under the rulership of the moon. As I said at the beginning of the clip, I gave the example of the year 2020 as being one of the most recent years that has fallen under this specific planetary rulership. So the moon is going to bring us a year in which we will need to be a bit more private, spend more time indoors. There could be something related to the quality of the air around us. There may be some weather phenomena that will keep us more indoors. It will be a highly introspective year. It will be a year in which we will be focused more on family issues, emotions. A lot of people could begin therapy or complete years of therapy, have a successful kind of like end closure to the inner work that they have been doing. Other people are going to have some very important spiritual awakenings. It's going to be quite a closeted year. Usually the moon brings with it this energy of ebbing and flowing. So in that year, we may have a period of abundance followed by a period of limitation and restriction. We may be feeling really good one season and then really low the next season. There will be a problem here with mothering, nurturing, and hospitals. In general, the moon rules any places of healing, spirituality, or religious pursuits. So churches, hospitals, maternity wards are going to fall under the spotlight. At the same time, we could see an increase in very beautiful music. Works of art that touch people's hearts are going to be released into the collective. There will be a prioritization of femininity, of receptivity, and of really appreciating the sounds of silence. A moon-ruled year is also a year in which the planet will replenish its resources. So there may be some sort of event that happens, much like during the pandemic. Because of the fact that we all stayed indoors, animals started coming out in populated regions, and nature got a brief period of time where it could be a little bit more wild than in other years. So we see how in 2027 we can expect a rewilding of our planet. For those of you who are highly intuitive, more artistic, more introverted, 2027 is going to be a year in which you are going to feel incredibly comfortable. It will be a year with less external stressors and more inner richness, more inner satisfaction. So this may be a year in which we may not accomplish so much at a social level or in our personal lives, obviously depending, because a lot of us will have different Jupiter and Saturn transits in that year. But overall, in society as a collective, the year 2027 will be a year of inward achievements, spirituality, an upsurge in meditation, yogic practices, a return to faith and religious-based practices. And a year in which we could see an upsurge in pilgrimages to shrines and places of worship. There could even be that we are creating a new religion inspired by technology and by the exploration of space. Okay, so just for your reference, the sensitive lunar energy is going to replicate itself in the following years. The year 2034, the year 2041, the year 2048, the year 2055, the year 2062, the year 2069, and the year 2076. Okay, so following a year in which we will be more inwards, less productive, more introspective, well, there comes a Saturn-prone year. This is going to be the year 2028. This year falls under the rulership of Saturn, the heart taskmaster. Limits, obstacles, and a lot of work. Work, baby, work is going to be the anthem of that year, much like with any Saturn-related activity. Whatever you want to achieve, if you want to get a material reward, you have to put in a lot of effort in order to get it. This is the basic energy of Saturn. It requires effort and physical stamina, the determination to push forward against all obstacles in order to get what you want. So in 2028, we may see a lot of new forms of business appearing on the market, increased competition. We may see a lot of building happening around us or in other places in society, a lot of new buildings, new neighborhoods, new spaces where people could come and trade and talk business and attend to serious issues. There may also be some sort of conflict that could erupt regarding who gets to own access to what resources, as usually the energy of Saturn tends to be quite greedy and quite cruel when it is used in a lower vibration. The higher vibration of Saturn is about teaching, it's about effort, and it's about discipline. So this will be a year in which we will establish new rules and regulations. At the same time, Saturn also tends to separate us from that which is no longer good for us. So in order to purify us, Saturn may detach us from those very things that are corrupting our soul. We may see the end of a year-long conflict happening. We may see the creation of new forms of political constitutions. People may organize themselves in a different way in society. There could be the throwdown of one government and then the establishment of another. As a point of reference, check back to 2021. This was a year that was also falling under the rulership of Saturn. As we were vulnerably emerging out of the 2020 pandemic, which was under the rulership of the moon, we entered a year in which a lot of us found ourselves needing to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps because some people lost their jobs in 2020. They were forced to stay at home. They couldn't pay their bills. So 2021 was a year in which a lot of us reorganized our forms of work, our occupations. Some of us had to leave a traditional job because it was no longer there. It was destroyed during the pandemic, and they had to find other sources of income. And we see an increase in home delivery services, and also spiritual leaders have appeared. There has been an increase in people actually taking matters into their own hands and building their own businesses as they were leaving corporations that were no longer able to protect them. People were also taking matters in their own hands and defending themselves when the government couldn't protect them. But overall, I need to mention that years that are ruled by Saturn are quite stable. They are not going to lead to mass protests or a lot of general wide changes in society. In a year that is ruled by Saturn, things could be quite heavy, they could be quite slow, they require a lot of effort and discipline, but you know what to expect. This is not a surprising energy. It's a bit more like humdrum kind of energy. It's like, oh, I have to do this. I'm going to have to pull over my resources and I will accomplish it. But by the end of the year, if you actually follow the energy of Saturn, you will look back and you will see, wow, I actually created this. And it's something quite solid, something that will stand the test of time. So 2028 is going to be a year of stability, increased limits, and discipline, but all of these things are going to help us establish long-term stability, commitments that will stand the test of time and that will make us feel more safe, more grounded. So as a point of reference, you can expect this energy of Saturn to rule over the following years: the year 2035, the year 2042, the year 2049, the year 2056, the year 2063, the year 2070, and the year 2077. And interestingly enough, following a period of restriction, we are going to enter a period of incredible growth, because the year 2029 is going to fall under the rulership of the planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter in its highest vibration, it's about new ways in which we can grow and learn. It's about increased travel, a mindset of prosperity and abundance that literally manifests in front of your eyes everything that you need. In a lower vibration, this is about exaggeration, this is about ego fights, and this is about greed. And we notice that the year closest to us in time that was falling under the energy of Jupiter was the year 2022, when the conflict between Ukraine and Russia erupted. Now you would say, Lexi, why is something so horrifying taking place in a year that is ruled by the Great Benefic? Well, because on a symbolic level, what is going on with the nation of Ukraine is a struggle for freedom. And Jupiter rules this independence, the freedom that we all should have access to in order to create the kind of life, culture, and habits that we would like to have. So in certain parts of the world, there may be some conflicts erupting because some nations may want to become free from the tyranny of their governments or the tyranny of another occupying force. There could be something here related to advances between the relationship that people will share with AI and robots. There could be some conflicts that start emerging in the year 2029 between the ones that we are trying to use on a daily basis, the technology that we're using on a daily basis, and the fact that some of it may become sentient. But in general, the year 2029 is going to be an abundant, prosperous year. We will have ideas, we will be inspired, we will create new forms of thinking. The year 2029 is going to be a year in which we will grow, we will expand, we will learn something new. This is an excellent year to plan some travels, to take bold risks, and to do something that you never thought you would be capable of doing. If you're also thinking of leaving a job in order to start off your own business, or to take a risk in love, to leave a marriage in order to be together with somebody you really, really want to be with, this is also a good year. Usually Jupiterian years are years in which we could do things that we never thought were possible in previous years. They are years in which we can actually bring a lot of optimism, love, and humor in our lives, but they are also years that teach us on a very wise, deep level how to let go of cultural prejudices, how to fight for our independence and our right to be free, and how to expand and grow beyond our reach. As a point of reference, Jupiter is going to come back and lead over the following years: the year 2036, the year 2043, the year 2050, the year 2057, the year 2064, the year 2071, and finally the year 2078. Okay, so now you have a primer relating to what kind of energy is going to play out in which specific year, but on an individual level, you may be interested to find out how this energy will affect you. I can't really say with extreme accuracy. I'll need to have a look at your birth chart in order to tell you directly how this energy may affect you. So please keep in mind, you may benefit from a transit report from me, but I can say in general, if you are a Jupiter ruled person, so for example, you have an ascendant in Sagittarius, Jupiter is conjunct your ascendant, or Jupiter is in your first house, then you are going to fare well and do much better in terms of accomplishing your goals and actually achieving what you want in a Jupiter ruled year. So for example, for you, the year 2029 is going to be a pivotal time in your life when you will attract a lot of good luck and opportunities for growth, expansion, and hey, you may even have your 15 minutes of fame. The same thing applies to all of the other planets. So If you are a Saturn-ruled individual, you have a Capricorn ascendant, Saturn conjunct your ascendant, or Saturn in the first house, you will do better in a Saturnian year. At the same time, if you are a moon-ruled person, you have a Cancer ascendant, the moon is in your first house or conjunct your ascendant, you will do better in a moon-ruled year. And I think you can catch the gist. The same goes for Venus. If you have a Libra or a Taurus ascendant, you will do well in a Venusian year. If you have an Aries or a Scorpio ascendant, you will do well in a Mars-prone year. And I'm saying here Scorpio ascendant because, as you guys know, in ancient astrology, before the discovery of Pluto, Mars was considered to rule the two signs of the Scorpio and the Aries. It was considered to be the solar Mars and the dark nocturnal Mars. So I'm taking this into account because I am using the interpretation of the Gromovnic, and it is an ancient astrology interpretation. Similarly, if you are Mercury ruled, if you have an ascendant in Virgo or in Gemini, Mercury in the first house, Mercury conjunct your ascendant, then you will do really well during a Mercury ruled year. In the same way, if you are ruled by the sun, so if you have a sun in Leo, or if you have the sun conjunct the ascendant, if you have the ascendant in Leo or in the first house, then years that are ruled by the sun are going to be really important for you. So next year, for example, 2024, the spotlight will fall on you, your achievements, your skills, your public personality. In 2024, with the energy of the sun, we will be able to achieve more of the things that we want, we will have more fun, and we will feel more complimented and more important, each in our own individual lives. So keep these things in mind as you are making a marker in your calendar and planning ahead. Think about when will be the optimal time to conserve your resources and limit yourself, focus more on work and on achieving money, a Saturn-ruled year. When will be a great year to travel and to open up your mind, to do something religious and spiritual, a Jupiter-led year? Or when will be the time to start maybe getting a new degree, learning something, training your mind, reading, or maybe even challenging yourself to do intense mental things, such as reading a book for each of the 365 days a year. That will be a Mercury-ruled year. This is what I had for you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm super happy that you're here. If you're an astro fiend, make sure to drop a comment, like this video, and subscribe. I have so many more videos coming your way with interesting topics. I'm learning about the combiture, for example, at the moment, and I cannot wait to create a video. If you would like to get in touch with me for a personal birth chart reading, just keep in mind I offer that alongside with a transit report, a love asteroids report, which is unique on the market, and I also have a synastry report just in case you may want to check the compatibility between you and a person you love, or even you and a celebrity that you're infatuated with. I'm open-minded like that, and I really want to help you out. So check the first link in the description box. It takes you to my website and you can book a personal birth chart order or a transit report with me. Until next time, I hope you have fun playing out the energies in your natal chart, baby. Ciao.